Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network, and of course, it's time for me to bring you the latest revolving round of the beautiful world of sport. Joining me this evening to take a look at all that you need to know in the beautiful world of sport is Emmanuel Michael. Michael, good evening to you, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening to you, Kingsley, and good evening to our viewers out there.
All right, we'll take a look at the situation of things in athletics as organizers of the historic gold label Pepe International 10-kilometer road race have congratulated Daniel Simu Ekpeyon on his successful marathon debut. Ekpeyon, the 2023 Pepe race champion and record holder, around 2 hours 6.4 minutes to 4 seconds to finish fifth in his first ever race over the 42.195 kilometers of the Chicago Marathon yesterday. The race director Zach Omodo congratulated the 29-year-old for his successful transition to full marathon runner. Michael, what do you make of it? This is a cheering news that we're seeing a marathon race in Nigeria producing, a marathon athletes that, of course, could be able to compete, in a very, very, impressive stage. And this time, it is the Chicago Marathon.
I think for me it's a cheering news, just like you've said out there. Having the Okpekpe Marathon race, kilometer 10, prodigy springing up and also taking to the international stage to also demonstrate such a massive feat out there. I think it goes a whole long way to tell us that what the Okpekpe 10-kilometer race is doing is no joke. I think it has come to stay. We are beginning to see some talent being churned out from that 10-kilometer Okpekpe race out there. You could also recall that in 2017 as well, Gabriel Selassie also, who emerged victorious at the 10-kilometer Okpekpe race, went as far as making his international debut shortly after that Okpekpe race, and actually did pretty well. This is 2024, producing another prodigy springing forth from the Okpekpe 10-kilometer race to take to the global stage. I think for me it is evident of the fact that the Okpekpe 10-kilometer race is heading into the right direction, and this should be the aim of the 10-kilometer Okpekpe race, to churn out world-class internationals that can also do not just Nigeria proud, but Africa as a continent. So for me, I think it is a big news, and let's hope that the organizers can continue to bank on this positive news to even make it more splendid in future.
All right, let's see how it goes. We hope that the organizers will put things, of course, in a very impressive shape. Let's quickly move on as we take a look at tennis on the show. Was, of course, an impressive one for Aryna Sabalenka, as she became the first player to win the Wuhan Open 3 times with a hard-fought win over Zheng Pingwen in yesterday's final. The 26-year-old Belarusian was taken to 3 sets by China Zheng in a thrilling rematch for this year's Australian Open final, in which she also claimed victory. Sabalenka clinched her 4th women's single title of the year, 6-3, 5-3, 6-3, and remains undefeated in Wuhan. Michael, a very good way, of course, for Aryna Sabalenka, to, of course, end the season.
Yeah, it was an impressive one for Aryna Sabalenka, and she continued to show her superiority over the Chinese. Talking about Zheng Pingwen out there, because he's making it the 4th time that they've actually met on the same court, and she has actually gotten the better of the Chinese. 4 straight wins out of 4. I think for me it was a show of class for Aryna Sabalenka, though it wasn't an easy one for her because it was a keenly contested counter. A Japanese was able to also show the stuff she's made up of, pushing Aryna Sabalenka very hard, but then Sabalenka banked on experience and also get the job done and dusted. It was an impressive victory for her, also winning not just the money that comes with it, but the 1,000 point, and this will further boost her chances of even elevating her standings in the next world ranking when it is release any day, anytime. I think she's edging closer to catching up with Iga Swiatek, because the point is parity as it is right now. It's further trimmed down cost of the 1,000 point that Arina Zabalenka has gained, cost of winning this Wuhan Open. And I say a very big congratulations to the Belarusian.
All right, so away from that, Novak Djokovic missed the opportunity to claim the 100th title for his stellar career as Jannik Sinner won a high-quality Shanghai Masters final. World number 1, Sinner, age 23, continues his dominant form this season with a 7-6, 6-3 victory over the 37-year-old. Djokovic was aiming to become only the third man after Jimmy Connors and the watching Roger Federer to chalk up a ton of titles. Despite the defeat, Djokovic has plenty of positive to take from a tournament where he produced some of his best tennis for the year. Michael, what do you make of it? It looks as if it's a near success syndrome thing, for Djokovic. Looking forward to get Grand Slam number 25, but still struggling to do that. And now trying to equal the record with Connell and the man Federer has been difficult for him as well in the Shanghai Masters.
Yeah, it has been difficult, but then you take a look at the quality of the opponent he came up against. It's not a pushover. Don't forget, Jannik Sinner is a world number 1 as it is right now. And Jannik Sinner, so far this season, have actually proven that he knows the secret on how to beat Novak Djokovic. In the earlier final where they met in the Australian Open, Jannik Sinner, against all odds, when Novak Djokovic was still seated or ranked number 1, was able to even defeat Novak Djokovic to clinch the French Open final as well. So this time around, meeting again in the final, Jannik Sinner was able to produce the best of his form, to also dethrone and take the trophy against Novak Djokovic, who was also bidding to, maybe catch up with some of the record, holders, the likes of Jimmy Connor and Roger Federer on 103 and 109 titles. He's at 99. This should have made it 100, career title for him if he had clinched this very one against Jannik Sinner. But then I think that Jannik Sinner had a different ball game altogether. He was able to come back and stay strong in that very game, produce one of the magnificent form that we've seen him so far this season, to remain and further, prove to the world that he's indeed stay as the world number 1 is not by fluke, but he has actually worked his way down to where he is right now. So for me, I think it was an impressive outing for Jannik Sinner. Then again, you also consider his form so far this season. He has been on a very stellar, form. I tell you, out of the 71 games that he has played so far this season, Jannik Sinner has won 65 out of those 71 games, losing just 6 out there. So take a look at the statistics and the record. It's very clear that he was in form heading into that game. The only challenge was the mental issue of, having to think of the case on ground against him, talking about the doping issue. So many persons thought that maybe that was going to weigh him down, because thinking about or contemplating about what is going to happen to him in the next few weeks when the judgment will be coming up, that alone could have a negative impact mentally on him. But then he was able to surmount some of those mental challenges, some of those stresses and setbacks, and stayed strong against a world-class player such as Novak Djokovic to deliver a stunning victory that further boosts his chances of even retaining or staying top as the world number 1 for a very long time. So for me, it was an impressive display for Jannik Sinner. You take a look at his form and his display against, the powerful Novak Djokovic. You want to say, yeah, maybe, just maybe, the future of long tennis is safe in the hands of Jannik Sinner.
All right, let's quickly bring you some results from the Nigerian Premier Football League, as we saw some interesting results as Ikorodu City got their first win of the season as they beat Bender Insurance by 3 goals to nil. Sunshine Stars beat Enugu Rangers by 1 goal to nil. Remo Stars beat National United by 3 goals to nil. And Shooting Stars played goalless against Ayimba Football Club. Katsina United also played goalless against Rivers United. Abia Warriors beat Aqua United by 1 goal to the Niger. They split one draw against Lobby Stars, and Aqua United beats Kano Pillars by 2 goals to 0. Economy Warriors split goalless against Heartland FC. Bayelsa United beat Plateau United by 1 goal to 0. Michael, Ikorodu City getting their first win for the season in the Nigerian Premier Football League.
Yeah, I think it's a big victory for Ikorodu City. You know, since they came into the Nigerian Premier Football League, haven't gotten that, promotion this season. They were like a baby that was still crawling. It looks as though right now they are beginning to learn how to stand and walk, and that is why they were able to get, their first 3 points of the season at home. And I think for me, this will go a whole long way to boost their confidence, heading into the next game, because gaining promotion into the top flight league, talking about the NPFL, I think you need experience as well to also stay afloat of the Nigeria Premier Football League, which it looks as though it's becoming very difficult for Ikorodu City since they gained that promotion. And that is why they have started the season on a very shaky note, very unconvincing. But then I think this victory will further boost their confidence and morale, in their next game, to see if they can be able to continue to churn out a positive result. And it will help them to also stay afloat of the Nigerian Premier Football League season, having come as a newcomer this time around. So for me, I think it is a good result for them, but can they build on this result going forward? That is a big question that they need to sort out.
The big question, of course, for Ikorodu City. Aqua United also got their first win of the season, Michael, as they beat Kano Pillars by 2 goals to 0.
It was a surprising result for me, because I had expected Kano Pillars to give Aqua United a run for their money, because if you take a look at the form of Aqua United so far this season, I think it has not been an impressive one. You and I were talking to a sport journalist based out there in Uyo, talking about Basi, who is very close to the team as well. He was telling us the other day that the Aqua United fans are not very happy about the negative results that the team was churning out there, and some of the fans were calling for the exit of the coach. But then I think the coach, talking about Baba Ganaro, have also listened to the calls and the cry of Aqua United followers, and that is why he was able to, bring out his A game to see that he was able to take all 3 points against a very strong Kano Pillar that comprises, the captain of, Super Eagles, talking about Ahmed Musa, Shehu Abdullahi, and even the iconic NPFL player, talking about Rabi Ali as well. So for me, I think it was a very big relief for Aqua United. We hope that Baba Ganaro and his boys can also build on this very 3 points going forward.
Let's see how it goes, of course, for Aqua United. There was also a weekend where Emmanuel Amulike, the coach of Heartland FC, was able to take away points this time. Even the new Lobby Star coach, Dalen Omokachi, as well, was all able to take away points in that one. Rivers United continue their unbeaten form, Michael. We're able to take points away from home as well.
Yeah, but for me, I had expected Rivers United, going by their form, to take all 3 points, not just a point at home against a very struggling side, But then they couldn't get all 3 points. You may want to say, yeah, getting a point away from home is a good one, but then as a league topper, I had expected them to do better by getting all 3 points so as to continue to maintain the first position on the table out there. But then, courtesy of that 1 point, they actually allowed Remo Stars to topple them right now in terms of the medals, the table, because Remo Stars won their game, I think 3 goals to nothing, giving them all 3 points, helping them to stay at top of the league table right now. I expected, like I said earlier, that Rivers United under Finidi George should have got all 3 points, but then it's not a bad one at all. Let's hope that in their next game they are going to get all 3 points so as to keep up the pace, against Remo Stars.
All right, at this point, I will take a break. I will come back from the break. We'll take a look at the situation of things, about the situation of things as it concerns the Super Eagles of Nigeria. It promises to be an exciting one. Of course, we'll be having someone who will be telling us more about the situation of things for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the short break. Welcome back. Steve Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network, and of course we're bringing you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. Joining us this evening, of course, to take a look at the situation of things as it concerns the Super Eagles and the Libya game tomorrow is the Nigerian Football Federation stadium announcer, Mr. Pius Idoko. Good evening to you and welcome to the show, Mr. Pius.
Yeah, good evening to you, and thank you very much for having me.
All right, we're very happy to have you on the show this evening. What do you make of all that has happened to the Super Eagles of Nigeria in Libya? We understand they were supposed to be in action tomorrow against Libya, but heading down to Libya, we heard that they were stranded at the airports and couldn't get down to their hotel rooms. Can you take us through what really happened?
All right, thank you very much. Well, what happened in Libya is, I think the Libyans see that as a revenge against Nigeria because they claim that they were poorly treated here in Nigeria when they arrived. And I can tell you that whatever claims that they came up with were all lies. It was just the football antics. They were just trying to play mind games, knowing fully well that their hopes of qualifying for next year's AFCON is just very slim. So they were devising, employing all kinds of tricks to ensure that they got all 3 points against Nigeria, or possibly get the points here in Nigeria, and then hopefully by the time Nigeria travels to play them in Benghazi, they will also employ all these tactics to get maximum 3 points so that they can get their race back on track, all in a bid to qualify for next year's AFCON. And I tell you, I was there. I didn't travel with the team this time around, but I was in Uyo, and I was at the forefront of everything that happened. How will they claim that they were politics when they decided to hide their traveling itinerary? They were supposed to land in Uyo. They were given all clear by the NFF protocol officer, Emmanuel Elbumi. As a matter of fact, they contacted the government authorities to ensure that the Libyan contingent lands in Uyo. 1 hour on or airborne, they now called and said that they are going to land in Port Harcourt. Even at that, the Nigeria Football Federation made everything possible to ensure that they were given a very good reception. They were received very well in Nigeria. But unfortunately, even when they told us that they were going to land in Port Harcourt instead, we said, okay, they still contacted the aviation authorities so that by the time they must have finished their immigration formalities in Port Harcourt, they can still fly them back to you. And then vehicles were available on ground to convey them to their hotels. But no, these Libyans, they were very tough. They were very difficult. They said no, they were going to stay in Port Harcourt, and Nigeria should make because probably that would be an extra charge on them, you know, flying back from Port Harcourt to you. And so they were trying to avert all of that and whatever that means. So like the NFF made provisions for buses to go down to Port Harcourt and convey them. It's I think it's a 2 hours drive from Port Harcourt to Uyo, but they refused and said they will make arrangements by themselves. So how is that supposed to be the fault of the NFF? I was surprised when the captain, Faisal Abdul Badri, complaining that only treated. You could see, if you ask anybody who was there during match day, they employed what we call dark arts in modern football. They wasted 15 precious minutes on the pitch. The goalkeeper dropping to the top every now and then at every contact with any Nigerian player. That was all in a bid for them to draw at least against the Super Eagles. It didn't work. Nigeria won in the end. After 9 minutes of regulation time, you need to see how they charged. You need to see how they charged against the referees. They said they were going to beat the referees, and when Nigerian authorities waded in, a Nigerian police officer waded in to calm nerves, and these Libyan players and the officials attacked the policeman. Can that happen? You could see the aggression on the Libyans. I actually saw this coming. I knew it was going to be a very difficult terrain for the Eagles to try. So I wasn't really surprised when they told us that they landed, and then their plane, Nigerian plane, was diverted from Benghazi to Al Abrak, which is 2 hours from their original destination. It was that bad. They stayed at the airport for 12 minutes, for 12 hours to 15 hours. The players have no option than to boycott the match. Although they have arrived in Nigeria right now, they are in Kano, and they are connecting to Abuja, and after which they will also connect to Lagos. But it is the height of wickedness on the part of the Libyans. This should not be tolerated. A CAF should raise a serious inquiry into this, and then punitive measures should be taken against this kind of behavior. They are painting African football in bad light. They are not giving us a good image out there. I mean, what does it take? Football is fair play. So for the aviation minister, in Libya to call for a diversion of the flight from Benghazi to Al Abrak, it shows that government is fully involved in this. So it is way beyond what we see in the ordinary. So I like the fact that the players said they are boycotting this game. Let the worst happen. A serious sanction should be meted out to the Libyans for this gross misconduct on their part.
All right. Just like you mentioned there, the players, of course, we got to report this afternoon that they've boycotted the game, and I think the sport ministry also supported that decision of the players. But the Libyan FA, they also came out today to put up a statement that, you know, whatever happens to the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Libya wasn't intentional. That some of these things, you know, happen and all of that. But taking a look at this decision from the Super Eagles of Nigeria, because from reports we got as well, is that the Sport Minister John Waneno, you know, had to communicate with CAF President Patrick Mosempe, and he said the Super Eagles should stay back in Libya and play that game. But the players have decided they won't play the game, and the Sport Ministry also gave them that support, and now they are back in the country. Don't you think, you know, CAF might frown at the gesture of the Super Eagles of Nigeria?
Oh, well, I get you correctly, but in this situation where the lives of the players are endangered, I think the players that are going to be involved should be considered first before any other thing called sanction. We'll wait for CAF's verdict on this. It is very clear that this was an intentional display by the Libyan authorities. How will they say it was not intentional when they refused, they gave orders, they placed orders in all their hotels? I mean all hotels in Libya, that Nigerians should not be accommodated. Where did that order come from? It obviously came from the government of Libya. So the players and the officials, they stayed at the airport. They were not allowed entry into the country itself. Even when they said they were going to make a U-turn and return back to Nigeria, you could see that they refused to refuel the aircraft. And when they were given all clear eventually, they had to pay ×5 of what it cost to refuel an aircraft. This is bad for football. It is bad for the image of football in Africa. And whatever CAF is going to come up with, CAF shouldn't even think of it. They shouldn't even think about it at all. That Nigeria should stay back and play in this kind of hostile environment when it is clear. I'm glad they've made the release also and said that they totally condemn what happened to the Super Eagles of Nigeria in Libya. And I think that by extension, this should be able, whatever a decision CAF is going to come up with, should be able to curb whatever antics these North Africans will employ going forward, be it national team football or club football. This should be the height of it. They're overreacted, and it has gone way beyond what the normal antics in football is. At this point in time, assuming that Super Eagles decide that they are going to stay back and said, let's put on the we can do Nigerian spirit. They go into that match, wins Libya right there in Benghazi. What do you think will happen? Do you think our players are going to leave that pitch unharmed? No, we should consider the lives of those that are going to participate in this game first. So I'm glad. So whatever happens, we are still topping the group with 7 points. If CAF decides that they are going to award 3 points to Libya, so be it. We still have 2 more matches. When show comes, a one-way push comes to shove, I guess we can still come second in that group if anything happens. But be that as it may, I think from every indication, even in the international world have carried it and they've condemned Libya in its. They've condemned the action that Libya has taken in its entirety. This should not happen to any footballing nation at all. This is the worst that has ever happened, and it should not be tolerated or be encouraged at all levels.
All right, my colleague Emmanuel Michael, I have a question for you. Michael, you have the floor.
All right. Some Nigerians are not really happy with the media handlers of the Super Eagles. Why? Because according to them, the media handlers of the Super Eagles were not right on time to update them with the latest happenings as regards the situation of the Super Eagles being stranded. We saw the Libyan media handlers also giving some false information to the public out there. So some Nigerians were not really happy that they left the job in the hand of the captain of the side, talking about Truce Ekong, who was briefing or updating Nigerians and the world as a whole what is happening to them. What do you make of the media handlers of the Super Eagles in this situation?
Well, when it comes to those that are handling the media aspect of the Super Eagles, I think I don't want to dwell much on that. I'm going to leave it for the communications department of the NFF to, take whatever proactive steps they need to take as regards that. Yes, I saw some of those complaints myself, where people were saying some of the pictures that came out shouldn't have been released. Well, the media personnel or the media officer definitely should have been able to handle some of those things. I am not in Libya, like I rightly said, so I do not know exactly what happened, because at some point I learned that they were not even given access to internet connection and all of that. So I don't want to fault anybody. I don't want to blame anybody. Yes, William Truce Ekong shouldn't be the one updating. It should have been done through the media channel. However, the stories are out already, and I think if the complaints are coming from all quarters and it is too much, I want to believe that the media, the communications department of the NFF will also take a proactive step to curb such incidents subsequently.
Lastly, before I let you go, these ugly incidents have gone viral. In fact, one of the renowned sport journalists across the globe, talking about the Italian Fabrizio Romano, actually updated this incident, his social media handles. What do you think that this portends for African football?
Yeah, it's a sad situation, if you ask me. I mean, like I say earlier, I've never heard or never seen anything of this nature in global football. What we usually get to hear is the fact that some players are being abused with racial slurs used against African players. And right here on the continent of Africa, we understand, yes, sometimes some countries will use their fans as the 12th player on the pitch to intimidate players while on the pitch. I was in Rwanda for the match day 2 of the Super Eagles against the Amavubi of Rwanda. Yes, they received us very well in Rwanda. I can tell you that they were very friendly as well. But on match day, while the game was ongoing, on the pitch itself, they changed everything, and they were booing our players on the pitch. Backdrop of boos and whistles against our players just to intimidate them and all of that. But there was nothing, it did not in any way portend that is going to harm the players or anything. As a matter of fact, as soon as the game ended, they all ran towards our players to take pictures. They were very receptive. But in a situation like this, I think the Libyans went extreme. What this portends for African football is that a lot of people will see us as a very minute set of people on the continent. They see us as a people who are not ready to grow football-wise. And it also behoves on the organizing body, talking about CAF now, to take a proactive step, to do the needful. I recall a similar incident happened. It played out when Gabon was going to face or rather Gambia in
Yeah,
an
in
AFCON qualifier
yeah,
as
in
well.
2020.
But
Yeah.
in the case of Gabon, it was well understood because it was a time where coronavirus was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was viral, and they were trying to be very careful so to avoid the spread of coronavirus into their country, and that was what led to a delay of allowing the Gabonese players into their country. But it is nothing to it had nothing to be compared to what the Super Eagles have faced in Libya. You could just see people with seared conscience, people who are very aggressive, angry with the fact that they might be missing out of the Africa Cup of Nations, but it wasn't our fault. Our players are clearly more talented than theirs. Why didn't they do the same thing with Rwanda that picked up a draw right there at home? Why didn't they do it with Benin Republic when they lost to Benin Republic away from home? So why must it be Nigeria? There are so many questions to ask around this. I mean, it's nothing to write home about.
Lastly, what would be your proposition to CAF? Give all 3 points and 3 go to Nigeria Super Eagles, or cancel the match and probably fix a date for this rematch in a neutral ground?
Okay, so because Libyans also said they have a case against Nigeria, they felt that were poorly treated here in Nigeria, but it's obvious that the case with Nigeria has overshadowed whatever it is they claimed happened to them. I want to be very, very clear on this, that FIFA, rather CAF, should take or rather carry out a very good investigation as regards this. Any team found wanting as far as this incident is concerned, not only that the 3 points should be awarded, maybe the country can also be fined so that it will serve as deterrent to any other team that wants to pull on this path that Libyans have taken. So, but as it stands right now, it is neither here nor there. The Libyans are claiming we've treated them poorly, and ours is very loud as well. So I don't mind, with this attitude, I don't mind if a new date will be fixed for this match to be played, and then they will be soundly beaten for them to know that they are not in any way, their players are not as talented as our players. As a matter of fact, we've played them, this to be the 5th time. And we've beaten them in all times, and we've beaten them like 3 times and drew once. This is the 4th time we've beaten them.
Yep.
So maybe a new date should be fixed, and then replay the game in a neutral venue.
Now, this matter is already with the CAF disciplinary committee, we understand, and they will be doing their investigation and come up with something tangible. Now, my only concern here is about the fact that the CAF disciplinary committee is made up of bulk of the North Africans as the executive members. Do you think that the judgment is going to go or tilt in the favor of the Super Eagles, considering the fact that most of the CAF disciplinary committee, about 70%, if we are not exaggerating, are from the North Africans? Do you think that this case will go in our favor?
Except they want to be cruel with their judgments. Otherwise, it is very clear. Football is fair play. They shouldn't take sides because most of the people that are in authority are North Africans and all of that. No, they shouldn't take sides at all. They should be totally condemned. Let me also tell you that the ambassador of Libya was at the stadium when Libya played Nigeria. He was not pleased with what he saw from those players. As a matter of fact, he followed them to their locker room. And when it was time for him to address them, they were still very nauseating with their attitude, and the man walked out of the team. He angrily left, just to tell you how bad it is. This, I doubt if any sane human being will want to tolerate this and will want to side or take side with a particular team that is very clear that they are very notorious with their attitude, their behavior, and whatever they do. It's all more than it has gone beyond the dark arts that they call it in modern day football. This is purely, it is completely out of hook. It is not football, and whatever it is should be treated with immediate effect.
All right, thank you very much. Let me give a pass, the pass back to Kingsley Emmanuel, my colleague.
I think we've unraveled a lot, about the situation on ground, Mr. Pius, and I think you really reviewed a lot as well on the show. But away from the drama, away from all of the crisis we've seen in this particular fixture, so far so good. Under the interim coach Austin Eguavoen, what do you make of the performance of the team so far, especially the encounter we saw at the Goslar Pavi International Stadium over the weekend against Libya?
Yeah, I think Nigerians love beautiful football. They love beautiful football as much as they love the results coming in as well. Coach Austin Eguavoen has been able to bring in stability from where Finidi George left it off. The boys are ready to play for him. While we were in Rwanda, the captain, Trust Ekong, did mention the fact that Austin Eguavoen brings a father figure into the team. And let's not forget that former Super Eagles captain John Obi Mikel also endorsed the candidacy of Austin Eguavoen to continue, because he also likened him to be an Ancelotti of Chelsea back then. They said there is something they do. They allow you to enjoy the game. They allow you to move freely with the ball. And it's very evident that most Nigerians have enjoyed the Super Eagles. They are entertaining and they are also scoring. Yes, they didn't score as many goals as possible in the last, but we saw how they scored against Benin Republic. In Rwanda, they had arrays of chances, an avalanche of opportunities, but they were not clinical enough. And then in the game against Libya, we also saw that they had so many chances. We would have buried that game right from the first 45 minutes of that match. But our players need to be very clinical. And so when it mattered most, we got the win through Dele Bashiru Fisayo. So I think Nigerians are happy with his performance, except anybody wants to be mischievous. That's when they'll start complaining that we are not scoring enough goals. But what they have seen, we could see that our players are all attacking. The game we played against Libya, when the goals were not coming, you could see the captain of the team, Trust Ekong, even left the back line, joined the attack in search of goal. Yeah. So this is what the players are bringing in for a manager they love and they believe in. So I think Austin Eguavoen has done well. This is his 15th win being in charge of the Super Eagles. And I think he has done very well. He needs to be given a pass mark and he needs to be commended as well.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Pius. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Michael, that was Mr. Pius Idoko at the Nigerian Football Federation Stadium, and has also given us his take about all that has happened about in the game between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Libya. We'll wait and hear what CAF, of course, and see what CAF verdict will be on this particular one. But Michael, your take before we call it a wrap on the show.
I think Mr. Pius just said it all. He was spot on in some of the salient points that he has actually raised out there. I think first I want to say it is a dirty antics deployed by the Libyan authority in order to frustrate the Super Eagles. But for me, I think this should not be the kind of antics being deployed in this jet age of football. Now they are painting African football on a very, very bad light because this has gone global. We hear that some English Premier League teams as well were even ready on ground to send in private jets to pick some of their players out of that condition because it was a very scary condition. How could you dangerously divert an aircraft that was meant to land at Benghazi? I mean, you are risking the life of the Super Eagles, which for me I think it shouldn't be encouraged at all. And we are expecting CAF to come up with a very serious statement as regarding this after their they've made their, requisite inquiries and investigation. I expect them to wield a big hammer against the Libyan authorities so that it will serve as a deterrent to other, nations, especially the North Africans, because they are very used to, some of these dirty antics, because this is not the first time they did this to Rivers United some time ago when we played the CAF, competition as well. So for me, I think it's just a matter of time before we get to know, which side the pendulum is going to swing for CAF.
We'll call it a wrap. We'll continue the conversation tomorrow on Sports Talk. Do want to join us as it promises to be another exciting time talking sports on Atlantic Television Network. Special thanks to Michael as well as Pius Sudoku, who did justice on the show this evening. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for watching.